Welcome back to Let's Get Cooking. It's your girl Rashida, and Christmas is around the corner. I'm so excited. But before we get there, I wanted to share another comfort food staple, and that is chicken and dumplings. They are yummy, they are hearty, and they are delicious. Easy to make. Remember to subscribe, and let's get started. To get started, I'm going to quickly show you how to make your own chicken broth. Chicken stock is really simple to make, and it adds that intense chicken flavor right from your kitchen. We're using a whole chicken, onions, celery, carrots, garlic, and some fresh herbs. To begin with, we want to get a large pot, I want to say probably about 6 cups of water, and we're going to salt that liberally. So I'm putting in probably at least 3 teaspoons of salt, and we're going to go ahead and add about a teaspoon of pepper and get that. You want to make sure your water is very seasoned, very flavorful for your chicken stock. And then I'm going to add in my whole chicken. This chicken is about 3 pounds, so just a nice small chicken will work. This is going to cook for at least 2 hours. I'm adding in all my veggies, and I'm using celery, I'm using carrots, onion, some fresh garlic, and some fresh thyme and rosemary. Basically, I'm going to bring this up to a boil, and then I'm going to simmer it and cover it for 2 hours. So it's very low and slow, but that's how you extract all that good chicken flavor off the chicken. Plus, cooking the chicken, it's going to be very moist, very tender, and it'll be ready for the chicken and dumplings in no time. So this is everything in the pot to make our chicken stock. And like I said, I'll be checking this halfway. But right now we want to get all of this to a nice boil. Then we're going to simmer on low and cover our pot and let it cook. Okay, we're about an hour in, and I want to take a look at my chicken stock, and it's starting to look good. You see the vegetables have softened, and the water has taken on some of that color from the chicken, so it's cooking nicely. We're going to return it back to a low simmer, put the top back on, and cook it yet another hour. And one thing that's great about this chicken stock, you can use it for anything: chicken noodle soup, chicken and rice, and you can prepare it ahead of time. So if you prepare it 1 or 2 days ahead of time, you can just store it in your refrigerator and use it when you're ready. So now the top is back on, and I'll be checking it in about 2 hours, and well, voila, we're at the 2 hour point. A little bit of editing helps to move things a little bit faster. So what I did do was I turned the chicken upside down just to make sure that it cooked evenly. So you see, it definitely looks like a great chicken stock. The flavor is there, and right now I'm just going to drain everything off. Look at that chicken. It is falling apart, so it's tender to the bone. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that on a plate, let it cool for a minute, and then I'll go ahead and take the chicken off of it. In the meantime, I'm just going to get a strainer and strain all the vegetables away from the stock, and that's it. Then I'll have my chicken stock getting ready for my chicken and dumplings. And here I am just straining off the vegetables and all those big, large pieces. So that just leave me with a nice, hearty, liquid stock. This is perfect. It's so easy. It does not take a long time to make your own chicken stock. This made about 5 cups of chicken stock when it was all said and done. I'm going to use about 4.5 for the chicken and dumplings. And here it is. I have let the chicken cool, my whole chicken cool, and then I went ahead and took the meat off the chicken. I have white meat, I have dark meat, and it made plenty of chicken for the dumplings. And it's so tender. It is so tender. I cannot tell you how tender it is and flavorful. And there goes my 4.5 cups of chicken stock. I'm working back to back, so it's time to start my chicken and dumplings. I took 5 tablespoons of butter and melted that in the same large pot. I just drained it and cleaned it. I'm using that same pot. It's a Dutch oven, so it's really good for these soups and dumplings. To my melted butter, I'm adding a whole onion diced up, about a cup of celery, just finely chopped, and 3 cloves of garlic chopped. And I just want to go ahead and saute these for a minute or two. And the first step to making the chicken and dumplings is to make the roux, which is like the base that helps to thicken it up. So to the 5 tablespoons of butter, the onions, the celery, and the garlic. Next, I'll be adding in a 1/3 cup of flour. And a roux is basically the basis of any gravy or thickening agent. If you're making gumbo or if you're just making gravy, you want to have the same amount of butter to flour. So the 5 tablespoons should be about a 1/3 cup of flour. And we're just going to go ahead and saute that and mix that together for about a minute or two. And then I'll be adding in my liquids. And you guys, it smells so good, so fragrant in the house. Now I'm adding in my 4 cups of chicken broth that we made at the beginning of the video. So I'm very excited about that. Just a little at a time, about a 1/3 at a time. Mix it in, and you see it immediately thickens up. That's what a roux does. Immediately thickens up your liquids. And that's the other part. I'm going to continue to just stir it. And once all my chicken broth is added in and this is stirred well, I would also use a whisk if you had one, that helps. I'm adding in some salt and pepper because you definitely want to make sure you have those flavors, layers of flavors and seasonings in your dumplings. So I did add a little bit more salt and some pepper to taste and some garlic powder. Now I'm bringing it up to a boil, about a medium-high heat. I am adding in some fresh thyme, just about a stem or two if you have it, or just about a teaspoon if you have dry thyme. And I'm going to cook this on a medium to low heat. And then I'm going to begin to make the dumplings and then add them back into this liquid. Okay, now I'm making my dumplings, and I'm basically taking the dry ingredients, which is 2 cups of flour, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, 2 teaspoons of salt, and 1 teaspoon of sugar. Those are the dry ingredients that I just mixed in a small bowl. For my wet ingredients, I have a 1/4 cup of whole milk and 3/4 cup of sour cream, and I just mixed those together. I'm adding those into my dry ingredients, my flour mixture, and I'm just going to kind of fold these over until everything is just combined, but yet I don't want to over mix it because we want light, fluffy dumplings. If you mix it too much, they'll be kind of dense. And so I'm just going to fold this over a couple of times. Oh, and let me not forget my 2 tablespoons of melted butter, which I almost did forget. So once I add my melted butter in, then once again, you see how I'm folding with the fork to everything is just combined. And that's the way it looks, just kind of like Play-Doh. That's the final mixture of the dumplings. And we're going to take little tablespoons of the dumplings and just drop them into our hot mixture. Quick correction, it was 4 tablespoons of melted butter for the dumplings. So make sure you note that was 4 tablespoons of melted butter. Now I'm going back to this is kind of like a soup. So I'm going back to my liquid mixture and I'm adding in 1.5 cups of 1/2 and 1/2. So this is just to make it a little bit creamier, a little thicker, and just a little bit more luxurious and tasty. If you don't want the 1/2 and 1/2, you don't have to add it in. I would just probably add in another cup or cup and a half of chicken broth. But with that added half and half, it makes it nice and creamy and just delicious. So before I add the dumplings, I'm adding in my cup and a half of carrots. I just bought this pre-packaged cup of shredded carrots, and that worked perfectly. A cup and a half, depending on how much you would like. So this is still on a low, kind of like a low medium heat. And at this point, we're ready to add the dumplings. And I'm going to just quickly show you how I added the first one in. I used my tablespoon and just dropped like a heaping tablespoon. And they actually expanded they expanded a lot more than I thought they would. So I would definitely make it smaller in the next time, but it still worked out perfectly. So I added in about a dozen, about 12 to 15 dumplings into my pot, and they don't take long to cook. We're just going to bring them up to a boil, a slight boil. Get all the dumplings in a pot, and then you do want to cover them and let them cook for 15 minutes. And you do want to stir them so that they don't all clump together and stick together. So they'll be just individual dumplings. It's just so perfect. So I covered my pot, and like I said, you want to do this for just about 10 or 15 minutes. Take the top off, and the next step we'll be adding back in our shredded chicken. Now you see where those dumplings have definitely increased in size, so those are full-size dumplings right there. Let me tell you how this dish is coming together. It looks so good. Right now, all that chicken that I took from the whole chicken that we used to make the chicken stock, I have went ahead and shredded it, and I'm just adding it back into the pot. It made about probably a pound and a half to 2 pounds of chicken. So I didn't use all of it, but I did use the majority of it. And I like that it's white and dark meat. So you have the best of both worlds. But the best thing about it is it's truly, truly tender. It just melts in your mouth, which is why we added it to the end of the chicken and dumplings, because it doesn't need long to cook at all. Basically, we're just heating it up for about 5 minutes or so. So once I add my chicken in, I just want to give it a nice stir. And then the chicken and dumplings are just about ready. I'm going to turn my heat off. You can add some peas if you like. That's optional. If you like to add about a half a cup to a cup of peas, that's optional. You can also add corn if you like. But I just left mine with the carrots and the celery and the onions for my chicken and dumplings on today. But those are some different variations. Thanks for joining me in the kitchen once again. I made another comfort food staple, and that was chicken and dumplings today. I hope that you make it. I hope that you try it. It is so good, y'all. It's like having a chicken pot pie, just kind of in reverse, if you will. It's delicious. It's hearty. Your family and friends will love you for it. Oh, and one more time, please remember to subscribe, like, and share. Subscribe, like, and share. Christmas is a few days away, so have a Merry, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I'm going to try to get you another video before the New Year, but if not, have a Happy New Year. And be blessed until the next video. Take care.